Good morning, everybody. As you know from the video title, we're doing a Nostrum Stage 2 kit. And you might be asking, why not Stage 1 or Stage 3? Well, the Stage 1s wasn't enough for what I wanted. Stage 2 is pretty good. I would prefer Stage 3, that way I could dial it back and then turn it up later. But I got such a good deal on these Stage 2 injectors, I ended up picking them up used. And the pump used. So I got a used fuel kit here. We have all the parts we need though from Nostrum to install it. And we even have new O-rings and stuff for the injector, so I'm pretty happy about that. All in all, buying it used and like waiting out and stuff, and I bought the pump separately from somebody else, and I bought the injectors from somebody else. I ended up getting such a good deal. I got about half off of what a fuel kit actually cost, which is pretty nuts. Now, this is a part of my YouTube series, guys. If y'all actually sit here and listen to me blab on for the whole video, I appreciate y'all, but this is where I need to talk to y'all. I'm stupid, and by this I mean I try to turn all my cars into race cars. I'm really good at doing that. I'm really good at making race cars. I'm really good at blowing up cars. I'm really good at making a reliable car a not reliable car, if you're catching my drift. And I'm not saying that the Nostrum Stage 2s are going to make this unreliable. I'm just saying there's a certain extent to where most average people, and I don't mean this in any kind of negative or derogative way, need to stop. You know, like, there's just like, you don't want to take your Explorer this far. It's cool. I understand fuel system's expensive. So we're getting into the more expensive side of things. We're getting into the more, not dangerous isn't the right word, but just adding more and more power, pushing the limits of the vehicle, things like that. You'll break stuff, you run into the weak links. This is what I love to do, right? But not everybody's about that life. And that's perfectly okay if you're not about that life. I'm just giving y'all a forewarning. I appreciate everyone's love and support of the channel and of me doing this. I've been doing this for years, you know, and nobody showed me love like y'all Explorer people, so I just truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And we're gonna get right into this install. First off, you start with popping your hood. Walk over to your passenger side. I will say Nostrum does come with instructions, but if you're like me, picture instructions aren't always the best. So we're just gonna get in here and we're going to disconnect the battery post. So it's a 10 millimeter. Loosen it up. Okay guys, so what I'm gonna start by doing is just going through and undoing all of these clips. Now be careful, don't drop them into the engine bay. You drop them into the engine bay, they're quite literally, like that one, probably gone forever. Our engine bays are crazy looking. We might find that one as I'm taking off the intake manifold. If not, I'll get a new one. Oh, actually, I see it right here. It's chilling right here. There it is. That doesn't always happen, guys. Like I said, just be careful. All right, so we got all our clips and stuff out of the front side. I do need to get a little flathead to remove these because I did those when I did the hood shocks. And there we go. Like I said, we got so much more room for activities here now to undo the battery. Put these, trying to keep everything organized and situated. All right, victory. We got it off with two hands. We can go ahead and move over to our wipers. You know, pull these little covers off, and it's going to expose a 15 millimeter nut. 15 and a 15. I didn't dry my car off good enough. I'm getting wet. But we're going to go and get these 15 off. Now you will probably need a wiper arm puller because these are a little bit tougher to get off than, say, the rear wiper, in my opinion. And then just remember how these go. Driver's side is going to go over the passenger side. The driver's side is also a longer blade than the passenger one. So put this over here. Y'all like my little princess cup? I think I stole my daughter's cup for drinking one day. All right, and now we're going to get these wiper arms off. This is where most people might call me dumb. We'll see if we can do it. Look at that, right? So a lot of people just grab and pull here, You kind of have to grab and then kind of like lift up as well, because what you're doing is if you just lift up here, you're going to put it in a bind. I mean, 30 seconds, guys. That one's off. No arm puller. Let's try the other one. No arm puller, guys. No wiper arm puller. There we go. Just like that. So, wiper arms are off. We've got on driver, passenger side, kind of orientated that way so we know which way they go when we go to take this whole thing off. And now we can just take this panel. We're going to start with the driver side over here, actually. And it's just kind of like push clipped into the into this place up here. So you're just going to pull up on it. And it should release it. Let's see if I can. There we go. Gotta give it a little tug. Put that down in front of the Prelude. Go ahead and grab this side. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. And now we have the cowl off. All right. Electric ratchet making the comeback for this video. Gonna move the wiper arm assembly. It's going to be 3 8mm. I have seen people break the wiper arm mounts and stuff from shoving them in there or over tightening them, and should be able to take up this whole thing. There is going to be one plug back here, which I'm going to unplug. All right, guys, so when you lift up your wiper arm assembly, it is going to, you're going to snake it out of there. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to remove this brake reservoir here. I know the camera doesn't pick it up the best, but once you're in here, you can see there's going to be 2 10mm bolts that hold this in. So there we go. We got that out of the way now, so we should be able to lift up your wiper arm assembly, and you can see the plug is back there. Let me put those in my pocket. So there's nowhere to place these now, because normally I place all my tools and stuff on the wiper cowl, but since we have the whole thing removed, there's just nowhere to place it. There's gonna be a pinch tab under here. You just have to pinch, slide off, and you got your whole wiper arm assembly. Next, what you're going to have is some 13mm. You're going to have 2 nuts up there, and then you're going to have 2 bolts back here. Well, one here, one nut, and then the other bolt on the other side. Completely remove that one, there is a 10mm, which you can see right here, the harness is kind of like bolted onto here. So okay, so you're going to come up into this side, and this right here is actually being held in by a little push clip right here. Being held on by this little push clip here. Now we should be able to pull up on the harness here. You can see that it's actually clipped into here in a couple different places. So just gonna pry up on these. Help that out a little bit. Kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie, but we got it out. Next thing's next. That's kind of fun to say. You got a bunch of 8mm here, here, all down the other side. Might need a couple of extensions and stuff to make it a lot easier to get to, but you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, Then you're gonna have 5, 6 is back there. You're gonna have other one right here, here, and I wanna say that's it. You get all those 8mm off, get this bottom part of the cowl off, and then we get into the nitty gritty of it. There we go. Whole wiper cowl and everything is removed. Now we can get into the nitty gritty part of getting to the actual intake manifold. So just like I promised, I'm going to show y'all how to do this, not following the instructions that Nostrum gives. So we're going to do this without removing the coolant system, so we don't have to bleed the coolant system. You know, I'm like, Travis, how is this possible? Some people have done it, some people haven't. But trust me, it can be done. I've seen it done. And I'm going to show you how. All right, so you're going to come back here, you're going to have 2 tins. Yes, I'm missing one. And then you're going to undo this tin here. All right, so with both of those tins off and out of the way, you're gonna take your heater core hoses and pick them up. You're going to stick a zip tie right through this hole right here. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one-handed, but I wanna show y'all. And we're gonna zip tie it up to this hole up here. And that's going to just lift up this whole thing, and it will clear and be out of our way. Step number 1. All right guys, next we're gonna go over here to the passenger side, and you're gonna see that there's a nut here and there's a little hole there with another nut. You're gonna remove these. These are 13mm. You're gonna need a deep socket. Go ahead and attempt to, I'm gonna need a little bit of a longer extension probably to reach this one. We're gonna attempt to get it down in there, and yeah, I'm gonna need an extension just to make that the right size. But get those 2 off and we'll remove that bracket on the fuel pump. Okay, here's a little bit of a tough part. Down in there, I know it's really hard to see, there's gonna be a 10mm that is like literally on the side of this bracket, holding this bracket on. It's easiest to reach up in there with a 10mm ratcheting wrench and get that off. That way you can remove this whole bracket. All right guys, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, that fucking sucked. It is literally this long ass 10mm nut, bolt, whatever. It's long, dude. It's like 2 inches, 2.5 inches long. That's stupid to hold in a bracket. So anyway, once you get that done, you're just gonna push it back out of the way like that, and if you can, and we unplugged the high pressure fuel pump here, and we're trying to get to that hose back here with a 3/8 quick disconnect. That should slide up in there and just disconnect it and get that off of there. You will get a little bit of fuel. Here's the plug. Remember, when you start unplugging things, don't forget to go plug them back. I'm gonna do that last though, so what I'm gonna do now is, since I got that stupid bracket out of the way, I'm done messing with that because it kind of pissed me off. We're gonna come up here, we're gonna undo this bracket, 10mm here, and then we're gonna have all these plugs here. Go ahead and get that one off. That easy, just literally, I mean, if you have a catch can, it's just, you know, push, squeeze, move. Gotta get your throttle body one off there. Probably gonna go ahead and pop that up because that's connected there. Let's see. So basically, we're trying to get the intake manifold out. We'll start with getting this bracket off real quick with these 2 tins. So once you get those 2 tins off, you're gonna have a couple hoses over here. You just use a flathead to pop this one up and then you can pull the lines out, and literally these three: the yellow line, the one with the orange, and then your other fuel rail piece. So get that. We're gonna put that over here, and then we'll just continue to unclip all these plugs and harnesses here. We got these two here. There's a bunch of them here. We got to get all these tabs up, so we're going to get our little tool that we use for that. And so we're just going to go through and pop these up. Boom, pop them out of there. This is like a trim tool, but it makes popping these things out so much easier, guys, and quicker. And then again, we're going to undo all these plugs. Now, keep a mental note, take pictures as you're going through and undoing all of these so you know which ones you've undone. A lot of these are gonna have these kind of like slide style where you slide them back like that. Even this one here. You could use a flathead, but I already had this in my hand, so just showing y'all. And then you could click and pull them off. Same with all this. Pull. Should be able to push that and come off. That's crazy how much that one turns. Let me put y'all down. I'm gonna need two hands. I'm gonna need one to push. You push this black part, by the way, and just unclip it. Okay, guys, for whatever reason, I cannot get this one to come off. It's pretty stuck on there, so I just unbolted it with an 8mm from here. When I've done these before, I was able to get that one off. Mine just says nope. I'm gonna get that one off. We're gonna undo these two 8mm holding this coolant pipe in. Again, don't move it a whole bunch because we're going to wiggle the intake manifold out past it, so we don't have to undo any of the coolant. Okay, so there is two more little things back here that I'm gonna undo from the back of the manifold, and then other than that, it'll be all of these 8mm. There's 8 of them total going down the intake manifold that I will undo, get them all out of the way. Use a magnet tool to get to the bolts if you can't reach them with my hand after you loosen them, and then we will take this off and we will go ahead and attempt to snake out our intake manifold. All right, guys, so sorry about that. Did have to take out my strut bar. Got the intake manifold out after I got those all loosened up. I did zip tie a couple more things up. But you can see coolant pipe and all that is still in place. It is a little difficult to do. Now careful, because that is just a slit fitting, so that could just pop out. It's just an O-ring slit fitting. It could pop out at any time, but not too difficult. A little bit of work, but it'll save you a bunch of time from having to bleed your coolant system and then getting coolant all over the back of your transmission and whatnot and having to wash it off, because if not, it's gonna burn and stink and yada, yada, yada. You do have to take out your strut brace. I thought I could get away with it having the Steeder one. You cannot. You still got to take it out to get the intake manifold off. I do have my fan on. It's warming up here in Texas, so. Next will be to disconnect the fuel lines. All right, guys. So you're gonna get a 17. You're gonna loosen this up, and I already loosened it. It will spray a little bit because obviously there is fuel pressure behind it. Just gonna get that all the way off. Again, it's gonna spray a little bit. You got fuel pressure behind it. All right, so once you remove this side, you're gonna remove this one because you're gonna wanna get the fuel rail out of there anyway eventually. But you're gonna remove this one in the very, very back. I'm showing on my arm. That one, then you're gonna undo this 10mm here and then this side, and you'll remove that whole thing all together because it comes with a bigger high pressure fuel line off the pump. All right. 213s are all the way off. You got your high pressure fuel line here loose. There is another 10 that is right back there. You can see it moving. And you'll have that line loose. I'm gonna try to, there we go. Pull it loose like that. See if I can't pull up the pump. I still need to disconnect this low pressure side, which is should use a 3/8 quick disconnect tool. Or if you have this, These work sometimes, you can get them to push in there, so we're gonna attempt to do that. It is a little bit of a pain. And then snaking out this with the coolant pipe in there is a little bit of a pain, but if you're not doing, I'm probably gonna have to remove the coolant pipe, guys, because if you're just doing injectors, you don't have to, but doing the pump and upgrading this line, we're gonna have to undo that coolant pipe, unfortunately. I thought I could get away without doing it, but it's only if you're just doing an injector. So if you already have the pump upgrade, then you wouldn't have to do this. But since we're doing the pump upgrade, I got to get that line out of there, and I think the only way to do that is by disconnecting that coolant pipe now to actually get the wiggle room to get that out of there. All right, so I did have to unfortunately disconnect the coolant pipe from the back, just like so. I didn't have to undo all the other coolant connections that Nostrum said. And I was able to snake this out. You can go compare it to a newer one, and you can visually see it's a lot bigger of a line to flow, much more fuel. So let me flip it around and show you how you're looking at it, like this. So toss that down there for right now. Put our other pump and stuff down there with it. Now we got to get back here and disconnect our low pressure side, and we should be able to just pull the pump right out after. All right, guys, so we do got to get the studs out. It's not really to help get the pump off, but the other one came with new hardware, so it does use an E7 Torx, or inverted Torx right there. You can see it on top. So you're just gonna put that on top, and then you'll be able to, should be able to just twist them out. I don't really like to use electric ratchets for these because you can strip them out, you can strip off the head if it's tight or gets bound up. So I prefer just to do them by hand. They don't take too long, and you know they'll come out right every time. Okay, and just like that, we got them both out. Now I should be able to pick up the pump and wiggle it forward to hopefully get this freaking bracket out of here. There we go. Got that. Get this big bracket out of here. Now you're not putting this bracket back in. I would get all caught up in the pump. Oh, got the nut. Good thing it came through. So you're not putting this bracket back in. That's that one that big tin went through, so you can see where that tin went through that to help bolt onto there. So you're not putting that back on. Not necessary, not needed. And now we can go ahead and start applying our new pump. Well, still got to get this one off. Let me get my low pressure side off here. It'll be a lot easier to deal with now in my hand instead of having to reach way back here to do it. And we can start putting the new one on and all that jazz. All right, guys, just like I always say in all my videos, having the right tools helps the job go smoother. I wouldn't have fought that one so much if I would have kept trying to my plastic one. I went to O'Reilly's. I picked up this metal one for $11, guys, $11. And of course it pops right off. So you'd be like, Travis, why haven't you had that? The plastic ones have worked for me in the past, surprisingly, right? But for this one, it's just said, no, we're not doing it. So we finally got a metal one, and it worked flawlessly. Again, $11, O'Reilly's. So there we go. Now we got a new tool. Got the OEM pump out. Uh-oh, it's leaking fuel still. Let's do that outside of the garage. Still lots of fuel left in here. All right, guys, so again, right tool gets it off quick and easy. I'm going to put up all the tools I don't need real quick, and then, but first, it comes with this tool, and you're like, what is this big plastic thing? This is to help align your pump to make sure that it is actually properly lined up. So it goes in there just like so, like I'm showing you. These two big lines, I got fuel right there leaking out, but these two big lines right here, two big bolts, they go like here. And so we're going to torque these down first, and then we'll put the pump on top, because if you try to get to these after you put the pump on, you're not going to get to them. I'm just telling you right now. So we're going to, these go on, this little flange goes on first, this goes on here to help align it. It's 20 Newton meters, which is roughly about 14 foot-pounds to 15. So again, hand tight, guys. So remember, orientation of your pump matters too. It's only going to go on one or two ways. You can put it on this way or back ways. And backwards ain't gonna fucking work, because, you know, obviously your fittings would be facing the wrong way. Excuse my language. But we got these two
torque down the spec. We got these just hand tight right now. We're going to tighten those down. We do have our low pressure side. We went ahead and connected that. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect my low pressure side back here because I did disconnect it from the back. All right, and that is connected, so I don't forget that. All this heat shrink tube. Put all that back on. I'll put all that back on in a second. And let's go ahead and torque these down. This is going to use a 5mm Allen key, and again, they're not stupid tight. They're like 8 pounds or so. They're not really that tight. All right, guys. So here we have it. Everything's torqued down. Now you will have to kind of alternate between these two bolts because it is a spring down here, so you'll side load it. So just kind of just work them both down. You'll have it sit all the way down until it gets nice and tight. We will have to get off all of these 10mm. You're gonna have the 3 on each rail. All right, we got all the 10mm out of there. So now what I'm going to do is loosen up this, get this line, I think, off of there, because that's gonna hit obviously back here and keep me from pulling that up. So just remove that line all together, and then I should be able to pull these rails out. All right, guys, there we go. Got them both out. One of the injectors you can see on the passenger side didn't want to come out with the rail, but that's cool. Oh, another thing is with the, taking my stuff, with your fuel pump, you're going to switch over to this connector. Oh, there you go. That's like a jumper, so that's going to go to your OEM harness. Alright, guys, so when you're pulling these out, remember there's 3 different like O-rings / seals, and you can see right here it is going to be like this brown kind of black slip-on one, the big actual O-ring, and then this little orange one. And it's okay if they're stuck up in here. What you'll do is you'll just get a pick tool and you'll just kind of pick them out like so. The Nostrum comes with new ones. You'll see that there's that small orange one that's like way up in here. Again, just pick them out. Make sure you get all 3 of them out of all 3 banks. And the way this goes is, if you're unsure, is you'll see that it kind of like slopes downwards and it's flat right there. Basically, this is just acting like a spacer. So that's going to go down like so. Then you'll put the fat orange one on, and then you'll put the little one on. And we're just going to put them back in the bags where the Nostrum ones come. And before you put these in, make sure you always lubricate your O-rings. I'm just going to end up using some of this multi-purpose synthetic grease. This works really well. Again, just a little bit, helps guide it up in there, helps not pinch the O-ring and whatnot. All right, and this one's super easy, guys. So all you're going to do is put a little lube on your finger, put the O-ring in there, slide these in, clip them in place. And it's dummy proof because these injectors only go on one way. And by that I mean you literally have this little tab right here that's like cut out of them. You can see more so on this one. So you can't like put it backwards or anything, or not that it matters that injector's backwards, but it's kind of like an alignment tool to make sure that you line up the harness and whatnot, and that everything stays in place. So it's all right there. That slides onto there. I just clicked my switch. But yeah, guys, super nice, super easy. And again, this is the passenger side. You can tell because it has the T in it from the hard line coming into it. I think it's going to tee into this one, which is the driver's side. So we got this one all fitted with the Nostrum injector. We're going to stuff up over here, and we're going to go through and do these. Okay, passenger side is back in. Now what you will do is when you put it in there, it might not seat all the way down, so you're going to have to start with the bolts hand tight, and then start cranking it down once you know they're all lined up. Go from the middle, and then you can go to either outer side. But always start in the middle with the fuel rail, that way it goes down nice and evenly. Now we should have room to put in the driver's side. I was going to put them in both at the same time and tighten them, but you can't because they hit and they won't allow each other to go in because of space. So this one's always seated down. Now we should be able to get the driver's side in, which we have right here. All right, both rails are in, all the injectors are in. Now, you don't want to forget a little doohickey here. This is going to go like, dang it, let me see, like so. Connect these 2 rails back together. All right, guys, so we're going to stick our plugs up high. We got these all cleaned off of all the dirt and debris. We do have our pipe lined back up. It's not in, it's just loose, so we can put the intake back in here a little easier. Everything's out of the way, so we'll slide the intake manifold back up in here. All right, guys, intake manifold is back on. It is a little bit kind of a pain to wind back up. Coolant pipe is back in. Made sure of that. Got the two 8mm bolts holding it in place. Now we can start plugging all of our sensors and throttle body and all that jazz back in place. I will cut these zip ties. I do still have to put this bracket back on, which I'll do real quick, and then we can start assembling it the way we kind of disassembled it. Bracket, it's held in by those two 10 mils. Before you put your bracket back on, remember you put those two in there, plug those back in. That sits here. This one is going to sit right inside here. That plugs in. This, this, and then you put all of your little lines and stuff in there. All right, guys, and as you're putting this back on, make sure that these little black pieces go in front. You'll see that there's this big white tab. It's sit in front on both sides. All right, guys, all the 8s are in. We got this put back in place, 10mm, the 13s. Now we got to start putting together the top. Well, wiper motor first. We got our wiper motor and our brake reservoir in place. Okay, and as you're putting this back in place, remember, push down. You'll hear it physically clicking in right up here on the actual windshield to make sure that it's fully sealed the way it should be. And then remember that this passenger side overlaps the driver's side. So put in the driver's side first, and this sits over the top, and you won't have any issues. All right, guys, wipers are back on in a line. Now we are just going to top her off with some coolant and wait for the oh, another popsicle. Thanks, dude. We're gonna wait for the revision. Also gonna put that back in, but that's no big deal.
All right, guys, we got a little bit of a break here. We're gonna just come out and give it the beat.
30, 60, quarter mile.
I gotta let off. All right, guys, as always, I really hope this video was helpful. I know this is a long one. There's a lot to go through and a lot to show y'all as the process of taking it all apart and putting it all back together and such. And I wanted to make sure I got as detailed as possible. That way y'all don't struggle with the install whatsoever. Again, guys, just trying to give y'all the confidence to be able to install these yourself. You can see even in this heat and DA, so with 80-degree temps and 22-something hundred DA, this thing's running at 11.69s while letting off before the quarter. I'm really excited to see what it's going to do once we actually get some good, cooler weather out and we're not in this high-ass DA and this ridiculous heat that we've been having in Texas. And I just want to say thank you, to everybody that watches my channel, everybody that watches my videos. And if you watched all the way to this, I will let y'all know that I have 2 products dropping this month, 2 new HSF products dropping this month. So if you stick to this end, you know now that something is coming. I won't spoil it, but if you actually were patient enough and watched this all the way through the end, you know that something else is coming. Well, 2 other things are coming. 2 new things from HSF. And I'm excited about it. I'm hoping everybody else will be just as excited as I am once these parts are released. So yeah, guys, I'm happy to be able to bring y'all more quality products made by my own 2 hands and by my buddy Ryan helping me out as well. And another thing, without making this video too long, I just want to thank y'all all for choosing Houston Speed Freaks, to choosing to deal with me for installs, buying parts to my website, whatever so be. I truly appreciate it. I know I'm not some big mega shop and some warehouse. I don't have lifts and stuff. I'm just a guy out of his garage, and I appreciate all the support and the just enthusiasm I get and just all the love, guys. I mean, I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And I can't thank y'all enough. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be anywhere I am today without y'all supporting me and getting me to where this car is and where I am with the build and everything. So I just want to say thank you guys. And yeah, I'll be coming out with a lot more videos, so y'all just stay tuned, guys. Love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until the next one.